What is going on, everyone? It's Oxy, and I am trying something new today. We're going to do a commentary slash walkthrough of a 14 Motherlode. I wanted to make sure you could all see my gear that I had for running this dungeon. 670 item level. Take it in. Here you go. Let's get to it. Okay, so as I'm sure you can guess, I'm playing Fury on Warrior, running a 14. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm just going to shout out things that I'm most likely thinking about throughout this dungeon as we go. We do start with the typical skip that you do here. I know with a rogue you can skip the entirety of this, but we do the first big pull and then skip the shield lightning guy. So we're going to come in here. My primary focus is making sure I don't pull any kind of aggro. We go in. Now, I do want to talk about one thing here. I was thinking of doing a rotational guide on entering an AoE pack because for the longest time I was using a Thunder Blast when I wasn't enraged because I needed to be able to cleave from the start. But I've started whirlwinding during my charge, so as you may have noticed right there, as I'm charging in, I whirlwind to get my whirlwind stacks up, so I can use a rampage and then send my thunder blast. Because I always like to use Avatar and Recklessness before charge, so that I don't have too many GCDs that I'm fumbling. It's just something like my brain can't compute it sometimes, so I play a little bit on easy mode. So we're gonna go here, get a little embarrassed on the charts, as always. This pool, scary things is the spritzers, although if you have Plater and are able to tell if they're targeting you, you can just reflect them off if you don't think it's going to get kicked. But if your team has good interrupts, this pack really isn't all that bad. The knives, the fan of knives, they hurt a lot, that AoE, so stunning them, using your shockwave for that is usually pretty high prio. Started to go off a little there. Hurts a bit. So I like the idea of doing a commentary of the dungeons, just trying to give my point of view of how it went for me, especially because Fury's been in a little bit of an interesting spot for higher keys this tier. It's hard to explain. On the deep down, they're actually not bad. Fury Warrior is not that bad, but when it comes to the meters, they look pretty rough. Alright, we got the equivalent of the maze here for Workshop. The little mini boss here of getting over the wall. Okay, so make sure you swing this wide so you have no issues with pulling aggro. I kind of thought I did there when I leapt because I haven't leaped that before. It kind of scared me, but keep pushing through. Don't get impatient and try to squeeze past this guy because he books it. This man is sprinting, so always make sure if he's over on that right side, you give it a second if you're doing the skip. Okay, so we're going to squeeze on by him. Moving up to the next pack, Avatar's back up, which I don't like the timings on this too much because then I don't have Avatar back if the pack dies fast enough for the first big damage phase of the first boss, which you'll see. But with this pack, and any pack that has the Peacekeepers in it really, big thing is using Spell Reflect on the Shield Lightning, or I'll tell you exactly what it's called here, the Charged Shield. The first one you can't reflect, but the second one, you can hear it there. I reflected it. It does pretty good damage. I'm still getting embarrassed by the Hunter and the Ret here, but that's just been my life the entire tier. Okay, so everybody tries to stack so we don't take up too much room there. AMZ goes down, and we're feeling good. So, first boss incoming. This first boss, make sure to always throw my Spell Reflect on the big pulse that he does because there's not many other places that it's needed. And then prioritizing the soccer balls if it doesn't look like anybody's in the vicinity of one is what I do, and you'll see me do that. So okay, this boss does have damage amp phase for those that may not know. It is when you kick the soccer balls in, they do a stacking like damage taken increase, so if your cooldowns line up for that, cool. You see my avatar has 15 seconds left, so I wanted to check here, since we're watching now, if I get avatar off by the time that it drops off. You can see his debuff was down here, but coin magnets covering it. What a terrible positioning for that. I'm curious if I ended up using Avatar before it fell off. See, I think the Hunter popped his cooldowns at a decent time, pumping, which is ridiculous, but crazy damage. That's why I bring MM Hunters. You saw my tier list video, you know I love MM Hunters, so they're in my key. They're in. Get a little internet OP here twice. Fun times. Sometimes you just got to deal with it. Messes up my rotation a bit, but whatever. Alright, so I see this. I just kind of want to help out some with the balls. I usually try to just use leap to get on the other side of one and just kick it quick and charge back in. You hardly lose uptime, and you can just make sure that your team's going to do it. Especially if you're not in a coordinated group. You never know when somebody's going to want to agree damage, so just take the second and a half to leap, kick, and then charge. You get some rage out of it anyway. It's not that bad. We spell reflect here, no reason not to. Not really any other damage that goes out. And we're feeling pretty good. Okay, so I see everybody looks like they're gonna be getting them. Nobody looks like they need help. Psych! Alright, in all fairness, a tip that I don't actually take, but you can bind your extra action button or whatever there to a key where you can just walk up and press the key and it'll kick it automatically rather than having to click it. I'm an old dog, can't teach me new tricks. I just click it, but sometimes I look like an idiot like that, so enjoy. One thing that I'm trying to convince myself to do is to stop using execute so much when I'm playing Mountain Thane and like keys. It just isn't as good as building up your stacks for Bloodthirst with the Raging Blow, or Bloodthirst, especially when it's stacked up with the crit and whatnot. But out of habit of how long I've played Warrior, I still use execute a lot, even though it's really not necessary. Okay, you want to make sure you LOS here. Although I did this a little weird this time, you'll see. I'm like LOS of the spot where he wants to bring the pack, and so if I remember correctly, I'm not able to charge them. Yeah, it's like awkward. It's like weird. So, and I wasn't even whirlwinded because it was awkward. I thought that I was ready to charge. Turns out I wasn't in line of sight, I guess, and just a big mess. So this pack became a little bit messy. I got thrown off a bit, but it's alright. You can recover from this. Plenty of defensives are up. There's really not much going on. If you find that you're low and you see a Rock Lance is getting cast at you, like you can see right there, you can, if it's up, cast Spell Reflect, and those are reflectable, especially if you're low and think you're going to die. I'm always watching for casts that are coming onto me. You just keep your feet moving. Try to stay around your teammates here so that you're not spreading the circles too much, making it too hard to move. And we'll just hit on this guy a bit. This was the pool that kind of hurt me DPS wise. I'm down like over 100 million damage here. It's kind of rough. Eat him. All right. So we don't mess with the guys on the left. Going up the hill. Always want to make sure you let tank get their aggro established. I have died far too many times in pools where I charge in too early and pop off. I tried to spell reflect there, but I should have known that they were going to do an interrupt, so that was my bad. Popped it for pretty much no reason. But I now just have a buffer where I wait a couple of seconds no matter what for maybe like a second and a half, where I just kind of sit there before I charge in so that the tank can really establish aggro, because you can't do damage if you're dead. So being patient is way better than trying to charge in and then wanting to blame your tank because you know you're upset that they weren't able to establish that aggro. Focusing on living here because deaths hurt the timer quite a bit, so living is more important than trying to squeeze out any little bit of DPS, since we were feeling fine on the pack. And Ret Paladin's disgusting. I hate him. I want to be res. Somebody toss me a B-res. Or lust. Or something. Just toss me something. We don't even have damage this tier. Alright. So we got a big pack here. You see how as I'm charging in, I do a whirlwind. You hardly lose a GCD on that, and you go in with whirlwind stacks without having to use your Thunder Blast unenraged, which was like my biggest issue. So one Quake does get off there. It hurts, but it's not going to be detrimental on a 14, thankfully. Overall, this pack isn't too bad. Next pack can be a little bit tough for your tank if they don't know how to kite it properly. But I don't believe we have too many issues. So we're moving right along. The group's doing great. I look like I paid for a carry based on the charts, which is great. Okay, boom. If you don't know about that cha-ching sound, it's the weak aura for Bloodthirst to let you know when you have high enough crit chance to make it worth prioritizing its use. So if you don't have that, be sure to get it. It's in the Warrior Discord. I can also link it in the description, but it is helpful, especially if you like audio cues that tell you. It really lets me know, like, hey, Bloodthirst is gonna hit. Like, it's... Ooh! I forgot about that. Ouch! That hurt. Yeah, that got a wow out of me. Man! But yeah, I would highly recommend getting it. I was usually against it because I don't like adding extra helpers to my my playstyle. I just kind of like the natty stuff besides having just like the weak aura that tells me all my cooldowns. But it is really nice having the audio cue because then you don't have to track your Bloodthirst stacks for its crit chance, and it's nice. So I would highly recommend that if you haven't gotten it yet. Yeah, my favorite boss of the dungeon because this is where Fury gets to pump some damage a little bit. This is a pretty good boss for us. I do like to hard focus the ad that gets empowered here, just because if it lives too long, it really starts hurting the group. And it can be a wiper, although I haven't had too many groups that have issues with this boss, so I don't really even know if it's that much of an issue. It's just what I always do, so... Oh, we're gonna sandbag this guy down. You can still hit with this circle. You can stand right on the outside of it and still be in melee range. So you don't need to completely drop your uptime there. Just a heads up. It's like little tips that you may not ever think about. Most, like 95% of people may know, but it's like good to know. Just because sometimes the most simple things you may miss. I know I've done it a million times, so. If I ever notice that like one of the Ragers are getting a little bit too far away, sometimes I'll just, because we have that talent that allows Stormbolt to hit other people instead of just one target, I will I'll Stormbolt the boss, and it'll like cleave out to the ad if I want it to stay within my cleave distance. So that is something that I do on this. I may even do it in this boss when I notice it getting towards the hunter a bit. See? But I do like to keep the ads close, keep them low. Avatar's up, we're sending it. Whole team's pumping, boss is moving right along. It is kind of a sandbag boss, like he takes a little bit, but this dungeon's relatively forgiving with its timer, so it's not too bad. It's all just about the route, in my opinion, like how efficient can your tank make your pools, because there are some weird pools that take forever, or if you do it like a pack or two at a time as compared to a real good chain pool, it can be the difference of like a couple of minutes, especially in the brainstorm area with the mind control people. Okay. Look. Oh man, see, this boss makes Fury look like it's doing great. It's a lie. I love this boss though for that. I think the other one that I like is the Big Mama boss on Floodgate. Pumps. Looks like the hunter got taken out. Ooh. Okay. Second boss down. Keep it going. Let's keep it going. Okay, so this is a complete pug, so I don't know which way the tank's gonna go because everybody's different on this dungeon that I've seen. I haven't seen like a specific route that gets done every single time. So he pulls all these subjects and a tester. Once I see him in there, I know that I can just go in and pop off. Big packs like this are terrible though for Fury, unless you get really, really good procs on Thunderblast, and even then it's really nothing crazy. Okay, I'm looking forward to trying to keep these things stunned. You don't want to get gooed. The Mind Lash, you can, if you are able to tell when you're being targeted, and I believe I do it a couple times, you can spell reflect the Mind Lash, and it will cast it on itself, and I believe do a decent amount of damage. I can't find it on the meters. It's just like in the Rookery, the Storm Rooks, you can make them cast on themselves as well. So if you see, I didn't get it off in time there because I was falling asleep at the wheel. But if you can tell that you're being cast on, reflect it, and it'll cast on. You'll see it'll cast on itself. So something to keep in mind. It saves you because that stuff does hurt a lot, and it also saves helping with damage on the ad. So okay, so we're just pushing our way through this. Paladin just always has uptime on damage. I'm telling you, it's just their damage is never on cooldown. I swear. There. So I reflect that. You see how his plater is saying he's casting on. It said at first he was casting on me. Now it says casting on Venture Co. Mastermind, which is him. So I believe when you reflect it, he just like channels on himself. So he's mind lashing himself. It's not crazy damage. In the Rookery, it is pretty crazy damage. You'll see the Storm Rook's health like start to melt away, especially on a higher key. But this one, it really just saves you from taking a lot of damage and definitely helps having any extra damage on them. I am trying to find a way to pinpoint whether or not it's actually doing damage to them though, so that's a work in progress. I haven't figured out how to check that. Try not to get gooed here. Oh, it's on me again. Yep, I was just trying not to get turned into a slime. Okay. The Echo Blades also, I just reflected that Mind Lash, but the Echo Blades as well can be reflected. It's a pretty good reflect because they do decent damage, but I almost like the testers. I almost like reflecting the Mind Lashes though. But if I see that an Echo Blade's getting cast on me, I'll usually just use it if it's up because the more reflects you get off, the more damage you're getting from your spell reflect, and you can't tell whether or not you're going to be cast on by mobs. So you might as well use it when you can in case an opportunity doesn't present itself. Now this kind of sucks. This is a little bit of like a kind of sandbagging here. These guys don't do too much, but if you don't get your kicks off on them and somebody gets turned to goo, it does suck. So I was hoping that the tank was going to chain pull them, and he did it a little later than I had hoped, but I understand. I had cooldowns coming up, so I was just like, please chain pull this, and he did, so that was nice. So we have Avatar. Pack just started, so we go ahead and just use it because there's no reason to save it for the boss. I'm watching all of their cast bars to see if any of them cast on me, so that I can reflect Mind Lash. There's one, but Reflect had 2 seconds left up. I was watching it like, come on, come on, come on. And no luck. But I can Reflect that one, so. See, I believe it is reflecting the damage because his health just started to melt away in those last couple percents. I tried to check the meters, but it doesn't show up on there. It's weird.
If you wanna jump the use bigger explosive!
Okay, this boss is pretty straightforward. I think most people know how to do it. Make sure you clear out the Azerokk. Make sure if you get targeted, which if you have Plater, it'll tell you. Because I know the arrow takes a second sometimes to go above your head. So if you have Plater, it'll tell you who it is right away when they're targeted. So that you know to place your Azerokk Catalyst in the right spots. And we are not clearing much here, but it's alright. Making ourselves a little bit of space. Right now I'm looking at the timer and I'm thinking to myself, alright, boss is at 60%. We have Lust coming up in a minute. We have 12 minutes and 45 seconds left. We're not looking bad because all we have to do is climb this mountain and kill the last boss. Last boss takes maybe 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes because of it just depends on the intermission. But, and also sometimes you can like push the boss to like 45%. Even though usually he phases at 50 if you catch him in the middle of a mechanic, so kind of depends on the last boss. But I'm looking at the timer and I'm thinking like, yeah, we're looking good, but lots of tanks are different on how they pull this mountain, so I don't know what to expect. Wait till you see how he does it. So if any of you are currently maining Fury and Mythic Plus, you know that what we excel in is boss damage, especially single target. There aren't many specs that run their Mythic Plus builds that are able to beat us in single target. We just have innate really good single target damage this split, so bosses are our strong suit, which is useful. Just our big AoE packs aren't all that great, which hurts in places like Cinderbrew. But yeah, we're pumping at the 1.8 mil. Trying to help us catch up a little bit on the overall charts. We're gonna blast this out of here. 6%. I think back in BFA, that propellant blast really hurt. Like if it touched you and someone else and they weren't like ready to use the defensive, it like melted them. I may be wrong, maybe someone else remembers, but I almost remember it being crazy and now it just tickles. Okay, so the tank wants me to wait on Mark with everyone else. So I'm like, okay. I've never seen this before. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if he's pulling the entire mountain or what. I guess I was standing close enough that literally every mine wanted to fixate on me. So I'm like, sort of like, okay, everything's on me, so we're gonna get across. But now I'm nervous, like, man, the last thing I want to do is die. Timer's getting a little close. I want to pop my cooldowns and go off, but they're all looking at me, and I just don't know how to get into there. So I play it safe. I do a nice 350k DPS. But you know what? They all targeted me, so what can I do? I've never seen that before. Maybe there was a way I should have played it where I could have done better, but it was unfortunate. I like the pool, though, because my other two DPS just melted it anyway. I just had the unfortunate unluck of getting targeted by like 7 mines, and I was just too nervous to get into melee range and screw it up just because I wanted to greed damage. So that one hurt me a little bit, but it's alright. We melt this out and keep on pushing. 9.5 minutes left. Would have been nice if they all went on the hunter, but I mean, I guess that's not allowed, huh? You know, everybody go on a range DPS would be nice, but not today. So at this point, I'm like honestly just playing the dungeon really safe. There's just no reason for me to, you know, right there, try to leap over the fire circles when I may leap and they come down on me and kill me, cost us the seconds for the death. Like, I understand the timer's getting a little tight. There's no reason to make crazy moves that may cost 15 seconds rather than just like 2 seconds. More than 15 really, because it slows down, deaths slow down DPS, they subtract from your timer, they reduce the speed at which things die, which I guess goes hand in hand with slowing down DPS, but you also have to walk back if it's on a B-res situation, which yes, slows down DPS, but you're literally just losing so much uptime, and just deaths, they just screw up the tempo and can really mess with a dungeon. So rather than dying, I just play things a little slower because we're on pace to be done with this thing and time it. Alright, so the last variable that I wasn't sure is if we're lusting the boss or lusting this second to last pack. I play this safe as well because I'm getting fixated here, although he grabbed the aggro of the ad, which I guess makes it go after him. But I wasn't really sure if that means I can go up in melee or not. Getting a little nervous. Ooh. Yeah, see, he changed his mind. So, I don't know if we're going to lust here or lust the boss. But I don't have Avatar up. So I'm kind of nervous about the amount of damage this is going to do. I know I can live it. I have plenty of defensives right now. I have Rally up. I'm looking for a good place to use Rally if I see someone getting low. I'm always kind of trying to watch my party's health, see if I need to pop Rally to give them a little bump to maybe live a tick of damage, help the healer catch up. But I do notice that we're holding Lust, so looking for the damage to kill these things. But as this priests do, we're just wrapped in a nice warm blanket, chilling, not really sweating too much, barriers up. It's all vibes. It's all vibes. One thing standing between us and the 14. Time to Motherlode. Okay. Okay, so with this boss, I just want to show something. Something I'm not sure a lot of people know, at least from all the dungeons that I've run. So you can see here, this guy, and then this guy flying over. They position themselves in a place where they're looking at certain sections of the map, and the tank should be positioning to where they shoot in front of them in a line the rockets that you see come out that, like, sometimes you only have a millisecond to dodge. So those rockets come down to tank positioning, or if the tank isn't positioning, your own positioning, because you can move around the boss's hitbox and try to put yourself in a good spot. So you always want to be looking for where they are and see if you can get in a good spot where you have a better chance of dodging them. So you can see that this one is right in line with where we are, so it's going to shoot the rockets all the way across the battlefield here. And there they go. So you can see it was straight across, and then straight across from the guy at the fire entrance as well. Oh yeah, the hunter tried to feign death there for the rocket, and it didn't work, and we all took the die. That was a little scary, but it did work out the next time. For this, I just run away. Once I see everybody out of range, I just pop. Pops power flag so I don't die. So you can see this guy is shooting across this way, and then this guy hasn't shot yet, but he would shoot across this way. So if we all just stand here, it's a high chance he's going to shoot his rockets, and we may not be able to move fast enough to dodge them, which happens a lot in a bad overlap later in the fight when you're doing Gatling gun and those rockets coming out in the middle of it. It can be really tough. I don't know, a lot of tanks talk about this being a safe, like they say this is where they want to tank the boss. I don't know if it's a safe spot of some sort because of how it's situated on the map, but see, this was a good move by him. Coming over here made it so that we had an easy time dodging. And now we're coming up on intermission. So with intermission, I try to always tell myself, save heroic leap, you know, especially if the timer's getting low. We're using charge to get to the ads that spawn, not leap. And sometimes I forget and I use leap. But these ads hurt. Like, they need to die. And so you need to get on them immediately, but you kind of need to save a leap in case you get targeted and the peg that you need to get to is far away. So I try to always save a leap if I can. And they're almost dead. Feeling good. And we're holding lust for the second phase. Almost there. Alright, one more smash. And we're lusting. And we just hope that everybody lives through the bad overlap. It comes right around the boss being like sub 10%. And every time, there's like 2 or 3 people that get hit and either die or go to like 1 HP. It's crazy. It's actually such a scary overlap. But it really just comes down to if you pay attention to where these guys are. You can see this one's here. So if you're standing in this section, you're going to have rockets come at you. During this Gatling gun, you'll see it. Yep. See, the priest got hit either by the gun or the rockets. I'm not sure. And we're going back in. I have second pot up. We're good. And Avatar coming up in 3, so 3.5 minutes left. I mean, this dungeon was cake, but it was pretty smooth. I had a couple of hiccups, but overall it was a good run. And I learned some things about, you know, honestly in the lower keys, this dungeon doesn't really do a ton of damage. So it was nice to have things really hurt, so I know when and what to use my defensives on. Alright, say goodnight to old Razdunk. So yeah. We wipe here and the key is bricked. Unfortunately, you can't. Like, all right, so that's 14 Motherlode Fury. I honestly feel like a 15 would be just fine. 16 is where maybe the damage that we're able to push out would get a little bit tighter. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Leave me some feedback in the comments if you're interested in more of these types of things. I would love to keep doing these. I love uploading my VODs, but doing commentary would be a lot of fun as well. I also stream on Twitch at OxxyOG. Like and sub for more. I also like doing fun little videos like tier lists, so feel free to go check out anything else that I've uploaded. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Much love. Peace.